Have you ever had a dream that you want him to do you so much you could do anything?
In June 2011.
What it is, guys? It's your boy BlastphamousHD. You guys have sent me some Sunny V videos you guys wanted me to check out. One of them called Celebrities Who Unexpectedly Turn Their Lives Around. I wonder if they're gonna have Boom Gang on this mug. He a whole gang banging Bible thumper now. Let's do this.
Out of every celebrity we'll cover in this video, there are a few who have fixed their life like Robert Downey Jr. Between 1996 and 2001, he was arrested on 6 separate occasions for some crazy different reasons.
Honestly,
by this point, he'd already been a famous actor for roughly 10 years, although this didn't stop a judge from giving him 3 years in prison. Upon release, he managed to land a single TV show role, which he was then fired from after police arrested him again, this time for walking around LA under the influence without any shoes on. Given this also resulted in Robert Downey Jr.'s divorce, it's no surprise he'd state it was my lowest point in terms of addictions. At that stage, I didn't care whether or not I ever acted again, although thankfully this didn't happen. He'd appear on Oprah stating,
and I said, you know what, I don't think I can continue doing this. And I reached out for help and I ran with it. It's not that difficult to overcome these seemingly ghastly problems. What's hard is to decide.
Although with his reputation in the dumps, the only role he could land was in an Elton John music video, and when he did return to the big screen a full 2 years later, producers withheld 40% of Robert Downey Jr.'s income to ensure he wouldn't relapse midway through filming. Only 7 years after being released from prison, Robert Downey Jr. was cast as Tony Stark in Iron Man, which grossed almost $600 million at the box office and paved his way for another 7 Marvel movies, although Samuel L. Jackson's turnaround might be even cooler. He'd met his alcoholic father only 2 times in his life, and having grown up in a broken home, it's no surprise that Samuel L. Jackson became an alcoholic himself. In his early 20s, he was booted from 2 plays on Broadway for his substance abuse problems, and by his early 40s, he was still an unknown actor with no money and a heroin problem. Samuel L. Jackson finally attended rehab at the age of 43, and amazingly, only 1 week after doing so, he'd star in a movie called Jungle Fever, which just so happened to be his major breakout role.
Once I got clean, everything kind of changed. The correlation between my career changing and me getting straight is very clear.
In just a couple of years after getting clean, Samuel L. Jackson starred in Jurassic Park, Star Wars, and Pulp Fiction, which then turned into another 6 Tarantino movies and his role in every single Avengers film. Despite finding no success until the age of 43, Samuel L. Jackson has grossed more than any other actor in human history, with Robert Downey Jr. being right behind him in rank number 2. This is good evidence that success is proportionate to struggle, which is a point often talked about by Oprah Winfrey. She was born to a single teenage mum who was living off welfare on a farm in Mississippi, and as a result she was primarily raised by her grandmother, who dressed Oprah in stitched together potato sacks and whipped her for reasons as petty as playing with the family's drinking water.
You get whipped, then they'd be annoyed that you were still sulking about it. You better wipe that frown off your face.
It's therefore no surprise that Oprah had run away from home at the age of 13, although this would lead to her first job as a part-time news reporter, which she was then fired from shortly thereafter.
I only came to co-host a talk show because I had failed at news.
With nowhere else to go, Oprah joined one of Chicago's lowest-rated TV shows, which then became the city's highest-rated talk show less than 2 months later thanks to her presence. Her contribution was so important, the show was not only named after her, but would also become the most popular talk show in American history only 2 years later. In 2003, at the age of 49, Oprah ranked as one of the world's 500 richest people, also becoming the first black billionaire in human history, and while that's a redemption almost impossible to top, Fergie might come close. Despite graduating from high school as a straight-A student, Fergie began using crystal meth every day at the age of 26, causing her to drop down to 90 pounds or 40 kilos, stating, "The drugs thing, it was a hell of a lot of fun until it wasn't," given she experienced psychosis, dementia, and even hallucinations on a daily basis.
I started getting really paranoid. I went one day into this church, and I thought that the FBI and the SWAT teams were outside of the church.
Although this episode in the church also happened to be her turning point.
And I said, if I go out there and the FBI and the SWAT team's not out there, then it's the drugs and I'm stopping. So obviously I went outside of the church and there was no SWAT team.
Did you keep your promise?
I kept my promise.
That was it.
that was it.
Fergie kicked her meth addiction in 2002, just months before joining the Black Eyed Peas, where she'd find unbelievable.
Is it bad that I thought this was Mexican Ray J? I thought this was Ray J until I realized that he's possibly Mexican or islander of some sort. To which case, Ray J need to talk to his father, because it might be this guy. Looks more like Ray J than Ray J does.
Months before joining the Black Eyed Peas, where she'd find unbelievable success with Where Is the Love only 1 year later. Fergie has since had a child, built a net worth of $45 million, and is almost 22 years clean. But while Fergie had to wean herself off only one drug, Drew Barrymore had to do so with many. Despite coming from an extremely famous Hollywood family and landing one of the lead roles in E.T. at the age of 7, Drew Barrymore was an alcoholic by age 11, a drug addict by age 12, put in a mental institution at age 13, and was legally divorced from her parents by her 14th birthday. She was therefore blacklisted from Hollywood at age 15, was cleaning toilets to make ends meet at 16, and by her 27th birthday she'd been married and divorced twice. Addiction had always been a major family problem.
Almost all of her ancestors were alcoholics.
And would even lead to her doing a nude Playboy shoot in 1995, which would actually become a significant turning point. Steven Spielberg just so happened to be her godfather, and would send Drew Barrymore a blanket for her 20th birthday, attaching a letter with the message "Cover yourself up," also including the original Playboy images, which were altered to make her look fully clothed. From here, she made the choice to return to Hollywood, appearing in minor roles until her casting in The Wedding Singer roughly 3 years later. This then turned into 50 First Dates and Charlie's Angels, making her one of the world's most well-known actresses, just like Lindsay Lohan, although for a slightly different reason. The Parent Trap gave her worldwide fame at the age of only 12, and by her 20th birthday she'd acted in over 30 productions. However, it'd be during one of these movies called Georgia Rule that a letter was leaked implying that Lindsay's life was spiraling out of control. It read, "Dear Lindsay, you have frequently failed to arrive on time to the set. Today you did not show for work all day. I'm now told you don't plan to come to work tomorrow because you are not feeling well. We are well aware that your ongoing all-night heavy partying is the real reason for your so-called exhaustion. We refuse to accept bogus excuses for your behavior. Today your actions on Georgia Rule have been discourteous, irresponsible, and unprofessional. You have acted like a spoiled child, and in doing so have alienated many of your co-workers and endangered the quality of this picture. Moreover, your actions have resulted in hundreds of thousands of dollars in damage. We will not tolerate these actions any further." The producer who sent this letter later stated she came to work every day after that. However, Lindsay's personal problems were only getting started. Just months after the letter went public, Lindsay checked herself into rehab for the first time, although this didn't seem to make much difference, as she was then arrested for driving under the influence. Over the following 6 years, Lindsay was arrested a total of 6 different times, while she'd state, "It is clear to me that my life has become completely unmanageable because I'm addicted to alcohol and drugs." As a result, she'd lose contact with her family and attend court-ordered rehab a total of 6 times, while almost every movie she was cast in during this period was a complete and utter flop. But as the negativity began to stack up, so did Lindsay's desire to get sober.
Was it over a period of time, or all of a sudden that maybe I do have a problem?
Over a period of time.
And in 2014, she chose to document the process in an 8-part series with Oprah.
My main objective is, to maintain my sobriety.
And have you been sober since we last met? Yeah.
The show was given awful reviews. However, Lindsay Lohan was finally back on the straight and narrow. She'd moved to Dubai that very same year because there's a certain calmness that I find in Dubai. There's no paparazzi, no cameras, that's a big deal for me. Not to mention the strict culture has helped her to stay sober.
You don't see people going to liquor stores and drinking and that kind of thing. You can go out and have fun, but it's a different kind of fun that you have.
Lindsay has since fixed the relationship with her parents, gotten married, had a child, and even returned to the big screen. But while Lindsay's dark period could have likely been avoided, Liam Neeson's was tragically thrown upon him. Having found success with every type of movie you can think of, Liam Neeson and his family had seemingly the perfect life. However, on the 18th of March 2009, all of this changed unexpectedly. Liam Neeson's wife, Natasha Richardson, was taking a beginner ski class in Canada when she fell and hit her head. The fall wasn't bad enough for her to ask for medical attention, so she'd simply return to her hotel room and tell Neeson she'd taken a tumble in the snow. Well, it turns out her brain had been bleeding the entire time, and after experiencing a splitting headache, she was rushed to the hospital and pronounced dead shortly thereafter. Neeson's final words to his wife were, "Sweetie, you're not coming back from this. You've banged your head. I don't know if you can hear me, but this is what's gone down," while one of their sons stated, "It was so sudden. When it's unexpected and it's just a complete freak accident, it really sort of messes with your mind whether you believe in fate or not. She was a terrific mother. Neeson never remarried after the incident, however he and his son played the two main roles in a movie called Made in Italy, the synopsis of which being almost identical to what they'd gone through in real life. Liam Neeson notably states in the movie,
"Disappointment is an absolute certainty. Everyone lets everyone down at some point. How you come back from that, that's romance."
With this redemption only being rivaled by Macaulay Culkin. After starring in Home Alone at the age of only 10, Macaulay Culkin became the world's most famous child star. He continued to appear in movies for another 4 years before choosing to retire at the age of 14 so he could live a normal life. Culkin was described by co-star Joe Pesci as being a really sweet kid and even at his age very professional.
He brings an incredibly mature perspective to everything he does, in spite of being very young.
However, as Culkin became an adult, he'd go through many periods of turbulence. For starters, Macaulay Culkin's success ruined the relationship he had with his father.
Everything that he tried to do in his life, like, I excelled at, like, before I was 10 years old.
While his earnings of $23.5 million before his 15th birthday also caused his parents' divorce in that very same year.
But as the money pours in, the Culkin family falls apart.
In the process, Macaulay began to experiment.
I wanted to, like, drink 40s and, like, you know, get laid and smoke pot. Like, you know, that's what I wanted to do, and that's what I did.
And in 2004, he was arrested and briefly jailed for possession of weed. The Home Alone star, 24, was given 1-year deferred sentences on each of the charges and ordered to pay $540 in fees, after which the tabloid press took this photo and accused Macaulay of taking even harder drugs. He'd respond by stating, "No, I was not pounding 6 grand of heroin every month or whatever," although at the same time he would talk about drugs by stating, "I do love them, they're like old friends, but sometimes you outgrow your friends, and it's therefore no surprise that Culkin has since gotten sober. I wouldn't be the person I am today if I hadn't had drugs in my life at some point or another. I had some illuminating experiences, but it's also effing stupid. So besides the occasional muscle relaxer, no, I don't do drugs recreationally."
You're remarkably normal.
Oh, thanks. I know, people are always struck at how normal I am. I'm like, just like, wow, really? I think my reputation.
Made it through the maze of being a famous child.
Yeah.
Macaulay Culkin recently had a baby and is these days usually only in the press for positive reasons. Chloe visited the Brazilian Google office where her face had been turned into an elevator and was being used around the city for advertising.
So we just drive around and there was my child on a billboard. I was just blown away.
But what happened to Chloe after the hype died down? After appearing in the meme at the age of 2, Chloe's mother continued to video her life up until the age of 10, at which point the family decided to sell the meme as an NFT, achieving a price of $74,000 US. They plan on using the money to put their kids through college, which isn't a bad idea given Chloe and her sister are now both in their teens, as is Dennis Collin, also known as the Popeyes Kid. The meme began with an extremely basic vine back in August 2013, where the real Snoopy videoed a random kid in Popeyes who was waiting to refill his drink.
Ontario at Popeyes. Ooh. Say ooh.
The following day, the image made its way over to Twitter with the caption, "When I see my teacher at a store," with the subsequent popularity of the meme giving the kid social anxiety throughout his early teens. However, this would motivate him to increase his skills as a football player, making a post on Twitter roughly 9 years after first going viral, reading "From Popeyes to state champion." The post was then reshared to Dennis' Instagram with the caption, "I need everyone to repost this and tag at Popeyes. I just want to talk business," which was followed by another post only 3 days later, announcing that he'd been officially sponsored by the company. He'd then feature in their Super Bowl commercial, where he'd announce his own celebrity meal deal called the Eyes on the Fries or Pies offer, which then led to him winning Breakthrough Athlete of the Year at his Lake Erie College just a few months ago. Although, while Dennis' story started low and ended triumphantly, El Rosita's story started triumphantly, but ended in tragedy. The meme was born back in June 2007, when El Rositas, translating to The Giggles, was interviewed on a Spanish TV show, where he displayed quite possibly the most contagious laugh in human history.
Pretty contagious. Okay, yeah, that's good.
Within only 5 days of the original interview, the clip had made its way over to YouTube. However, in September 2020, Alracidis was hospitalized as a result of diabetes, where he had to have his left leg amputated. In response to the unfortunate situation, a French video forum raised 14,000 euros for Alracidis, allowing him to purchase an electric scooter and wheelchair, although within only 6 months he was back in the hospital. Alracidis passed away on the 28th of April 2021 from complications related to his illness, yet his presence on the internet will likely live forever, as will Bad Luck Brian's, whether he likes it or not. The person in the photo's real name is Kyle Craven, who deliberately purchased a cheap thrift shop outfit so he could take a terrible yearbook photo. His friend then downloaded the photo, added the caption "Takes driving test, gets first DUI," and posted it to the Advice Animal subreddit on the 24th of January 2012 with the title "Bad Luck Brian." The meme was then remade with a different caption reading "Falls asleep in class, wet dream," with the now clearly established purpose causing the meme to go viral. Ask Siri to tell a joke, she turns on front camera. Stops, drops and rolls into another fire. Parents get divorced, no one wants custody. The virality of Bad Luck Brian led him to recreate the meme at VidCon 2 years later, before he'd then get recognized by Seth Rogen, which turned into advertising opportunities with McDonald's, the General Car Insurance and Volkswagen. Bad Luck Brian then featured in a book, on t-shirts and over 20 different games, which according to an interview with the Sydney Morning Herald, made him between $15,000 and $20,000 in the 3 years after first going viral. The article also explained that Brian works as a project manager for his father's construction company, where according to his LinkedIn, he recently became the vice president after 17 years experience. Brian has since gotten married and had 2 kids, although as shown by this photo, they might not be a fan of the meme. Despite this, Brian recreated the photo for his 32nd birthday, although can you even talk about Bad Luck Brian without mentioning Scumbag Steve? The guy in the photo had posted the image to his MySpace back in 2006, however it wouldn't be until the 21st of January 2011 when the photo was reposted to r/funny with 11 different captions representing him as the unreciprocal stoner that everybody had in their school. I've never seen a meme I could relate to more. I knew so many kids like this in high school and unfortunately hung out with a lot of them for a while. Stupid high school phase. This one is on the money, only made funnier when the real person in the picture came forward as 22-year-old Blake Boston, who was unemployed and wanting to fight anybody who talked about the meme. The fact that he's a real scumbag makes the meme 1,000 times funnier. Steve then took advantage of the fame by launching his own rap career, starting a series called Scumbag Thursdays and attending RuffleCon 2012, where he'd gained favor from the public after eventually embracing the meme. By this point, however, his popularity had well and truly faded, and Scumbag Steve fell back into obscurity. That would be until April 2021, when Know Your Meme aired an update on his life.
My name is Blake Boston, aka Scumbag Steve.
In which he'd show that he still had the hat, while explaining that he was engaged, had 2 kids, and was trying to start a band. That very same month, Scumbag Steve sold the meme as an NFT for $57,000 US before making a post on Twitter reading, "Whoever this is, thank you. You have no idea what this meant to me and my 2 boys. I'm humbled and so grateful," turning Scumbag Steve into Good Guy Greg, whose identity is still a mystery more than 12 years later. Good Guy Greg has been described as the antithesis of Scumbag Steve. The captions generally depict the character as kind, generous, or empathetic to other people, having blown up around 4 months after Scumbag Steve with this image here. Sleeps on your couch, makes breakfast. Although despite the meme's instant popularity, the person in the picture never came forward to claim that it was them, until around 3 months later when the following post was made to the Ask Me Anything subreddit. "I passed the 6-week challenge and crewed alongside Good Guy Greg. I'm a commercial fisherman AMA, attaching 5 supposed photos of the man who looked nothing like Good Guy Greg. Am I the only one who can't see the resemblance to GGG, leading other commenters to dig a little deeper? How did you come to find out he was Good Guy Greg? We showed him a picture of Good Guy Greg and he said that it was him. We didn't tell him that his picture was famous. Did GGG wonder why you had a picture of him? Not really. What, really? What the hell? So this random dude hops onto the same boat as him and just happens to have a picture of him from who knows how long ago, and he's just, yeah, that's me, and doesn't take a second to wonder why. In a different AMA, a user claimed to know the real identity of the real Good Guy Greg before posting this photo, which while looking extremely similar, was debunked given the difference in eye color. The person in the picture likely didn't want to be famous from a photo of him smoking, yet this comment puts forward a much more beautiful theory. He didn't come forward because he's a good guy who isn't interested in fame. He's humble and happy knowing that his picture is out there giving people joy and he's satisfied with that. He doesn't need the credit or the attention, and it's hard to give an update on someone who's practically a ghost. Although the overly attached girlfriend happens to be the opposite, having spent over 10 years on YouTube talking about the downsides of becoming a meme. The overly attached girlfriend came from a video titled JB Fan Video, in which a YouTuber named Lena Morris parodied Justin Bieber's song Boyfriend with lyrics depicting her as the stereotypical clingy girlfriend. Although as the meme began to go viral, it took only 11 days before Lena mentioned that she was uncomfortable with having her face everywhere. I'm always amused by the overly attached GF tweets. Then I realize my face is associated with it and I'm slightly disturbed. Still awesome. Despite being slightly disturbed by the meme, it would shoot Lena into stardom, with every video on her channel racking up over 1 million views each, although this fame wouldn't last forever. The meme slowly lost its relevance, and by 2015, 3 years later, Lena was barely gaining 100,000 views per video. By 2019, Lena had completely abandoned her channel, prompting an upload titled Breaking Up with YouTube, in which she'd explained how fame had taken a toll on her mental health.
I'd sort of landed myself in a real depression, and I was keeping it a real deep secret.
For this reason, she'd then state that she was quitting YouTube for good.
I know that this part of my life is done and it's time to say goodbye.
Before announcing in April 2021 that she was selling her meme as an NFT. It managed to achieve a mind-blowing price of $411,000 US, during which she'd give her live reaction on Twitter by stating, "What? BRB, I need a minute, WTF. Truly you have no idea how this is going to change my life. I mean it, I'm so incredibly thankful and also still just blown away. So weird, so cool, WTF, thank you internet." Although she could still never be as confused as the Have You Ever Had a Dream kid. The meme came from a 1999 HBO kids show and featured an unknown child who was attempting to recount this quote from Hercules.
Haven't you ever had a dream? Something you wanted so bad you'd do anything?
Instead completely fumbling his words.
Have you ever had a dream that you want him to do you so much you could do anything?
In June 2011, approximately 12 years after the show aired, the clip was reposted to YouTube, where it went unbelievably viral, having racked up over 80 million views since it was first posted, although still nobody knew the name of the child. That would be until the 8th of July 2021, when Wavy Websurf posted this video, prompting a message from a fan who told Wavy, "Hey man, I know who the kid is from Have You Ever Had a Dream? Went to high school with him. I'll give you his name so you can go check him out for yourself. He probably won't want to be out there like that, but thought it was cool you were looking and thought I'd give you the answer you were searching for," before attaching a Facebook profile of someone named Joseph Serkiel, who had the Dream Kid as his profile picture. After confirming that it was in fact him, the two recorded an interview where Joe explained that he was now working in the corporate world, with the Wavy Websurf interview then leading to a BuzzFeed video, which has since received almost 10 million views. Joe still looks pretty similar to how he looked as a child, however, the Kazoo Kid looks almost unrecognizable. The origins of this meme are actually very similar to that of the Dream Kid, as both include a 5-year-old child landing a role on a VHS TV show, only to achieve random success on YouTube many years later. In this case, the 50 million view video was called You on Kazoo, and given it was filmed 25 years prior in 1989, people began to wonder where the kid ended up. Using his name listed in the credits, Brett Ambler, people were able to track down his Twitter, and since he was now in his mid-30s, he looked like a totally different person. With his newly found accidental fame, Brett announced that he'd be hosting an Ask Me Anything, on which he was asked, "What profession do you have now? Are you an actor or musician?" Responding with, "I'm lucky enough to say that I'm still an actor and musician," which can be confirmed on his YouTube channel, where the Kazoo still appears in almost every video. But while the Kazoo Kid continues to document his media presence, the 9+10 kid has been so quiet, people thought he became a missing person. After the legendary Vine was posted back in June 2013, an article was published to the website Hustlers titled 9+10 equals 21 Kid Vine has reportedly run away from home and currently being searched for Read Goodbye Note Here, which stated the child whose real name is Habib Sis ran away from his home Saturday night and is currently being searched for throughout the whole Baltimore area. Authorities say the child left a goodbye note in his bedroom that read, "I'm tired of everyone laughing at me. I'm running away forever now. If you want to find me, the only clue I'm leaving is 21. When the article was reposted to the IGN forums, users showed concern. However, it was quickly debunked when the original Viner uploaded a new video captioned, "My lil bro is all good. Whoever made up that story has no life. By the way, his name is Xavier." However, despite being given his first name, there's almost no other information about him anywhere on the internet. His last online appearance was in December 2014, when he'd recreate the meme,
"You stupid." Why not? No, 21.
Although since then, the kid has completely vanished. His brother, who uploaded the original Vine, continues to post gym videos on TikTok and YouTube. However, his last name isn't public, so we can't figure out Xavier's full name. In a 9+10 kid iceberg, one of the bottom tiers states, there was a rumor going around that the kid signed up for the Area 51 raid back in 2019, although there's no source on the post or on Google. Given the Vine is more than 10 years old, Xavier is now presumably in his late teens or early 20s, although given he didn't really care about his fame in the first place.
Alright, bro, you know you famous, bro?
Yeah.
You got like 200,000 revines, bro.
He's likely made the deliberate choice to keep his identity hidden.
Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to comment, like, and or subscribe. Make sure to go check out Sunny V2 Twisms.